Okay, the quadratic formula. You've learned this in grade 10. Here it is in all its glory. Please memorize this. It is very important for the rest of this course and for any future math you plan on doing. Okay. Example 1A is done for you. I'm not going to go through it. It's pretty much done for you step by step. Instead, what I'm going to do is example 1B with you. Now, the quadratic formula, to be used properly, you have to make sure that your quadratic, first of all, is in standard form. Now, B almost looks like that, except that I need to have everything on one side of the equation. So let me bring my 3 and my negative 8x onto the left-hand side. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, I'm going to have 5x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, another way to write that, usually I like to have a positive in front of the 5x squared. I can rewrite this whole expression as 5x squared minus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Now how does that happen? Well, just think of multiplying both sides of the equation by -1. Okay? Well, the right side, nothing's going to change there because -1 times 0 is going to be 0. On my left side, well, everything changes sign. And I'm pretty much ready to use my quadratic formula. However, I have to identify my A value, my B value, and my C value. Okay? Once I've done that, I would write out the formula again. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. And instead of rewriting the formula again, I'm just going to replace my letters with the values I've identified in my above equation. Okay, so for example, the b over here, the b over here, the -8, I'm going to replace it with -8 in my equation. So what do I mean by that? Well, instead of b, I'm going to write in -8. And same thing here. Instead of b, I'm going to replace that with -8 squared. Let me just rewrite that. That 2 again. So -8 squared, all square rooted. And the 4ac, same thing. I'm going to replace the a with 5 and the c with 3. And finally, that's all over 2 times a, which is 2 times 5. So let's start doing some calculation here. Negative 8 will give me a positive. Plus or minus 8 squared is 64. And then I have minus 4 times 5 times 3 gives me 60. All over 10. Keep going. Here I'm going to have 8 plus or minus the square root of 4 over 10. And at this point, I separate my plus minus. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, let me take the plus. I have 8 plus the square root of 4, which is 2, over 10. This just gives me 1. Similarly, I look at the negative aspect, 8 minus 2 over 10. And this gives me 3 over 5. And pretty much that's it. Those are your two roots. You have 1, 3 over 5. That means this parabola passes through 2 x-intercepts. So it'll look something like this. So 3 over 5 is 1.5. Let me see here. So let's say this is 1, this is 2. So I have a root over here. And sorry, 3 over 5 is 0.6. And then I have a root over here. So my parabola is going to look something like this. Something like that. Okay, it's not exact. All I know is that it's going through those two roots. Next, we'll do example 1C, which is similar to this, just a little bit more preliminary work.